Welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm your host, Pete Mezzetti. My guest this evening is Jim Crawford from the old Saybrook-Westbrook Excahnge Club. Jim, welcome. How are you, my friend?
Good to see you again,
buddy.
bud.
How are you, bud? Good to see you.
Been a long time.
It has been a long time. What's new?
Yeah. Well, with most service organizations and nonprofits, last 18, 20 months have been a nightmare in terms of being able to raise funds through the traditional methods that we have over the past years. Excahnge Club has had fundraisers for as long as I've been a part, over 40 years, and it's really difficult to make them happen. But things seem to be opening up, and we're moving forward. So that darkness is kind of starting to lift a little bit, and people are still being reasonably cautious. But the time is now so we can begin to do some of these in-person fundraisers again.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to come on and talk a little bit with you about the 12th annual 5K race over at Saybrook Point.
Sure.
The Excahnge Club of Westbrook and Old Saybrook co-sponsor with the Old Saybrook Chamber of Commerce, and it's been a great fit for both groups for several years now, and the money we raise goes toward our scholarships, our respective scholarships. The Excahnge Club has kind of a unique one we're very proud of. The acronym is ACE, A-C-E, and it stands for Accepting the Challenge of Excellence. And we award that to one student at Old Saybrook High School and one student at Westbrook each year. And what makes it unique is that it honors kids who have overcome a significant obstacle. Whether it's social, emotional, some kind of a family situation, overcoming some kind of disability, whether it's academic or otherwise. And we've had some incredible candidates over the years, with just compelling stories that break your heart, but at the same time they're very uplifting because they're so encouraging in terms of the fact that these kids made it happen and they're graduating with their class on time.
Absolutely.
And we honor them each year, and they quite often turn out to be students who otherwise wouldn't get any recognition. They're not necessarily the kids with the highest average in the class. They're not necessarily the best athletes. They may not shine in the drama or whatever, but they've shown with their determination and their courage, really, that they're real players. They're people who make it happen, and we're honored to give them money every year. And the beauty of it is we give it to them directly and tell them, this is for your post-secondary education, whatever it is that works best for you. If it means you're going to a four-year college, by all means use this money. If it means you're going to a community college to acquire a technical skill or a certification in a particular profession, feel free to use it. If you're going into the military, you're going to take it too. So it's meant to be a reward for what you've done. It's not necessarily for something you will do. So in that way, I think it's very different, and it says to these kids, you know, you did a great thing, you accomplished something terrific, and moving forward, this is hopefully make things a little bit easier for you. But the community says to you, we're proud of what you did. And so this road race, after that long explanation,
that's okay.
This road race is the primary source of income for our small club. When I say small, we're about 20 members total, and we put a tremendous amount of effort into this with the chamber, and it's really a 10-month planning process. It works out great for them. They have the Wilford Hunter Scholarship that they give out.
That's right.
And that goes to a high school student also. So it's really basically a scholarship run, or walk. And we can promote it in that way. We get we get the word out to the local high schools
Yeah.
that this is a perfect opportunity, the end of the summer, for your fall sports teams that are starting training for the season.
Right.
Come out and have a great run. It's not only a training for the kids, but it's also a fun run.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
traditionally we've had field hockey teams and soccer teams
Sure.
from Valley, from Old Saybrook, from Westbrook for many years, and we welcome them to come. We can give them a reduced team rate,
Okay.
so that the kids wind up paying a smaller fee, and coaches bring their teams, and it works out great for everybody. So
Absolutely.
what you need to do is, at this point, if you're interested, whether you're an individual or you're a coach or a student, is go to the Old Saybrook Chamber website.
Okay.
They'll publish it up here for you,
Yep.
and just log on there and get in. And there's a very simple online process to get yourself registered, and it's perfectly simple. It's $25 per individual,
Okay.
and we're running a $15 fee for students.
Oh, nice.
And they've traditionally had a terrific time. It's very professionally run.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we have a group that does the timing. Each
Sure.
runner gets the number and a device to wear, the
Yeah.
timing device.
Absolutely.
And Sound Runner has helped us with getting a timer there. So the whole
Okay.
thing is set up in a very professional way, and it counts toward competitions
Nice.
and road races that runners know about around the state and actually New England.
Absolutely.
And we have a gentleman who runs every year around the state. I believe he's 93 this year. He'll run the 5K. He's done it for about 7 or 8 years now, and it's great to have him out there.
I think
so.
I've
We have
seen
to
him.
get that special trophy for him.
Okay.
So we have trophies given out for obviously for the top finishers,
Okay.
and but he gets a special super senior award for completing the course.
I thought that would have been you.
Yeah, I'm not running. I'm out there. I'm out there helping with the logistics. But you're not
Absolutely.
going to get me out there running,
Well, so-
especially pay to run.
Yeah, right.
It's a beautiful course.
It
Pete.
is.
It's a beautiful course.
It is.
For those of you who haven't heard about it before, it starts at the Fort Saybrook Memorial Park.
Yes.
Down at the point,
Yeah.
and runners go up College Avenue until they get to North Cove, and then they go off on a North Cove route. And one of our members, Stain Rolsett,
Sure.
gets out there on his bike, and he leads the group so that people know the exact route to take. And there's a little bit of a double up in one spot.
Oh, okay.
But it's a beautiful run along the water, and we have a water stop about halfway
Okay.
where people, in addition to the residents who are along the way, are passing out
right.
water
Absolutely.
themselves.
Absolutely.
We have a water stop, and folks get refreshed and move on. So it's really very well coordinated, and we even have refreshments at the end.
Right.
Kind of things that someone who's run a 5K would like, whether it's citrus or we cut up. You and I know this.
Yep.
We cut up some bagels.
That's right.
Folks want a few carbs when they're done.
Absolutely.
And obviously, there's a lot of water being consumed too. So.
Absolutely.
And the donations for these things are just fabulous.
Yeah.
We get terrific donations from Stop and Shop.
Yeah.
Cohen's Bagels
Sure.
has been
Absolutely.
a sponsor for 12 years, all 12 races.
Oh, wow.
They've been fabulous about donating the bagels. In
As
the
you and
range.
I both know,
As
'cause
you
we
and I
picked them
both
up.
know, we pick them up and cut them, yeah.
Absolutely.
And, they're donating anywhere from 150 to 180
Right.
bagels, and we're cutting those up. Because the runners don't want a whole bagel, they want
Right.
they want a
half
little bit to
bagel.
get themselves recharged, and
Right.
because we've been over 350, 400 runners down there.
Wow.
So yeah, it can be quite a packed group.
Absolutely.
Fortunately, we have some parking down there that we're able to utilize.
Oh, yeah. I've done that too.
You've done that too, where we have to find a way to pack folks in. We thought maybe this year we'd have a problem with Smoke on the Water. If they had gotten approved,
Right.
we wouldn't have had access to that. But it's still there, so we can park people down there, and
Okay.
we've anticipated all kinds of things. So in the future, if we need a shuttle, we can do a shuttle bus, and
Right.
M&J Transportation has been
Sure.
more than happy to donate those if we need them. So
Absolutely.
it's been a terrific experience, and I think, as I said to you earlier, I think it's important
Yeah, we got
to
sponsors.
mention all these sponsors.
Oh, absolutely. Go for it.
These are folks that have been great to us. Bogart's Construction,
Sure.
Paint Shop, the Lee Company. We did, as I mentioned, Cohen's,
Yeah.
Saybrook Point Inn,
Okay.
Nourish and Nosh Nutrition over in Old Saybrook. For All Promos. We get all of the hats printed for free by Cosmo at For All Promos.
Okay.
You may know Cosmo.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and Short TV. Wilcox Energy is one.
Sure.
Land of Tie this year is new. Phoenix Massage, which is a new one. They specialize in athletic
Okay.
injuries and also in keeping people
Gotcha.
flexible and ready to run.
Absolutely.
And then there's the Total Design Source. So a lot, as I said to you, a lot of these are in-kind donations.
Right.
Bagels from Cohen's and Cosmo with the hats. The great support we get from Stop and Shop and others. It's
Absolutely.
terrific.
Absolutely. So how did the idea of the road race and the Exchange Club come about?
It's 12 years
12
ago
years.
now. We had a new member come in, Jerry Lipkis from Durham Middlefield, and they had a fledgling road race up there in Durham Middlefield, and he said, we might give this a try down here, and we found it to be extremely successful, and so successful, I will
Right.
say that
Yes.
that last year when we couldn't do it in person, we did it virtually.
Yeah, that's right.
And we still raised $2,500
Really?
primarily because of the generosity of the sponsors. So
Excellent.
the community's been very, very supportive, and folks continued to sign up. And in a virtual 5K, you run whenever you feel you want to run.
Right.
You can run the full 5K, or you can do parts of it, and then you can submit your times. And we still had people supporting us in that endeavor, which was terrific.
Cool. Jim, would you mind sticking around for another segment?
I'd love to.
All right, we'll be right back.
Right now, the COVID-19 vaccines are available to millions of Americans, and soon they will be available to everyone.
This vaccine means hope. It will protect you and those you love from this dangerous and deadly disease.
I want to go back to work, and I want to be able to move around.
To visit with Michelle's mom, to hug her and see her on her birthday.
You know what I'm really looking forward to is going to opening day in Texas Ranger Stadium with a full stadium.
We've lost enough people, and we've suffered enough damage.
In order to get rid of this pandemic, it's important for our fellow citizens to get vaccinated.
I'm getting vaccinated because we want this pandemic to end as soon as possible.
So we urge you to get vaccinated when it's available to you.
So roll up your sleeve and do your part.
This is our shot.
Now it's up to you.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti, sitting here with Jim Crawford from the Old Saybrook-Westbrook Exchange Club. Jim, welcome back.
Thank you, Pete.
Thank you, bud.
Thank you.
So, Jim, what do you want to open up this segment talking about?
Well, I mentioned in the opening that this has been a very difficult time for nonprofits and for service groups.
Absolutely.
I have to talk about the incredible generosity that we've seen in our communities over the course of that time. One of the groups, in addition to Excahnge, that I'm part of is also the Shoreline Basic Needs Task Force.
Yes.
And it grew out of work from the Shoreline Soup Kitchens and Pantries.
Okay.
Patty Dowling originally had the idea. It's been carried on now by Amy Hollis admirably. And when this pandemic hit, it was very scary for the Shoreline Soup Kitchens.
Right.
They didn't know where their sources of income would come from, where they derive their sources, what would be crippled as a result of all the restrictions and the protocols. And what happened is absolutely remarkable. They have completely doubled their need. They now serve double the number of people they served before March of 2020.
Okay.
And the income they brought in has more than supported what their needs were. So it allowed them to go out and aggressively purchase what was needed on wholesale costs, because they had the money available, because people stepped up. A lot of people, I think, used some of their stimulus money, and they gave so generously to the Shoreline Soup Kitchens that they had a tremendous appreciation. If you talk to Amy or anyone connected with the group now, it's just remarkable at what they've been able to do and how they've been able to address this, and their gratitude toward all of their supporters is just remarkable. So I think in that context, we want to look at what other nonprofits and groups like them in our area have done. I'm also part of the Hope Partnership, and one of the things we've noticed in this pandemic, a Hope Partnership for Affordable Housing, one of the things we've noticed, I'm sure you've seen the glaring problems that have existed as a result of the pandemic, and now we know all about the eviction moratorium and all the issues that were involved there. Hope recently opened 17 units in Centerbrook at Spencer's Corner, and we now call it the Lofts at Spencer's Corner.
Okay.
And there were 170 inquiries for those 17 slots.
Wow.
And today there are still 100 people on the waiting list.
Oh, wow.
So when we talk about need, it's not, it's not in some distant place. It's not somewhere off in an urban area or somewhere in another state. It's right here.
Right.
And it's not like we want to bring people into the area. We need to help the people who are here right now.
Absolutely.
So these kind of things were so glaringly made apparent by the pandemic that we, as a community, I think, can be very proud of the way folks have stepped up. And as a former teacher, one of the things I'm most gratified by is folks who are out there trying to educate themselves about these issues and trying to learn from these experiences that we didn't really talk a lot about because they were hidden. There are an enormous number of people in my town of Westbrook who fall into that category, the Alice category, where they're one paycheck away from a disaster, they're one boiler breakdown, or one car repair or medical issue, and they're really in deep trouble. So that's about 33% of the people in this community. So I think if there's anything positive that's come out of this pandemic, it's the willingness on the part of so many people to step up and to share with their neighbors, and it's also the quite obvious obstacles, barriers, and difficulties that so many people face. And what we need to do is look at that and try to make strategic decisions that are important. I don't think it's any secret to anybody that our communities are skewing much older. The average age of folks who live in our towns is over 50 now, well over 50. We have declining school population, and how do we retain the talent not only in Connecticut but also in our communities to help make them vibrant, that help revitalize, that bring fresh ideas and new and new folks with energy to reinvigorate our communities to move forward. It's a difficult problem, but I think in a lot of ways this was an opportunity.
Right.
And if we take that opportunity, we say to ourselves, this kind of thing doesn't happen very often. Thank God, it doesn't happen very often.
Amen.
We're going to have once in a lifetime federal stimulus money coming into all of these towns.
Absolutely.
What do we do with that money that's most impactful? What do we do that makes transformative decisions? What do we do that makes our communities more inclusive, more vibrant, more sustainable?
Mm-hmm.
And those conversations are going to be taking place over the course of the next 6 months in a very real way. I mean, we're talking about significant amounts of money.
Oh, absolutely.
A town like Westbrook is going to receive $2 million, and that doesn't count the money that's going to the Board of Ed.
Right.
So where we go with that, how we spend that, will say a lot about where we are in terms of our future and how we're going to go about developing our communities and in many ways preserving it, but also in recognizing we need to move things forward too.
Now, Billy, correct me if I'm wrong. You're also involved with United Way.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and
Because we got to mention Kevin. Because if we don't mention Kevin, we're both going to get in trouble.
Kevin, I'm sure you know this, but Kevin, after all these many years, is retiring, and
No.
yeah,
I didn't
and
know
you should
that.
make sure to have him on before he retires.
All right,
Yeah.
when's he retiring?
I don't know if
This
there's
year?
a fixed date, but it's very soon.
Okay. All
And
right. Okay.
yeah,
I'll tell you
he's
what,
already-
if I have Kevin on with me,
Yeah.
that means you have to come back.
I'd love to do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
would
I'd
be
love
fun.
to do that. Yeah.
That would be fun.
Yeah, he's been gigantic.
Oh,
in the
absolutely.
county for a long time.
Absolutely.
And United Way Middlesex United Way really stepped up during this situation and provided some very important stopgaps, but also provided some incentives that are helping to make lives better for people by
Right.
providing boosts to entrepreneurs and help with small businesses, and just really significant, pointed efforts to make sure that the damage was as limited as possible and that there was an upside that we could come back to. So, yeah, United Way, Middlesex United Way has, and kudos to Kevin
Yeah,
and the
absolutely.
board, because they've really made a huge effort in the last half dozen years to embrace all of Middlesex County,
Mm-hmm.
so that there's a lot more impact down here on the shoreline than people realize, and it's been very beneficial.
Absolutely. And the other regular that's on with me is Cynthia from Community Foundation
Yeah,
Middlesex
Cynthia
County.
Clegg, yeah, she's terrific.
Oh, she's
and
wonderful.
if you had Cynthia and Kevin on together, you'd be
Oh boy.
that would be a beautiful thing.
That would be.
They perfectly complement each other.
Oh, absolutely.
And so forward thinking and so creative.
Right.
It's really it's really a great fortune for our area that we have people like that who, there are people who do their job, and then there are people who are incredibly passionate about their job.
Yep.
And they are the real
absolutely.
deal. They are the real deal.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So I'm assuming they're going to have a search committee for Kevin's
Yeah, they
successor.
will. Yeah, they will, and that's going to be tough.
Yeah.
The job will be filled, but it will not be Kevin.
Right.
It'll be.
They're going to be some
someone
tough shoes to fill.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough. It's going to be very tough.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So we've, there's a lot of bright spots in all of this,
Right.
and you don't really know until you really ask people to step up. You don't.
Right.
You don't really know what they're capable of
Absolutely.
until a crisis like this hits, and for so many of us, the isolation and the all the issues that are associated with that isolation,
Right.
just have made things. They've made things so difficult, but they've also made us aware of how significant they are and what we can do to make life better.
Absolutely. We've got a little bit more time left before we say goodnight. Road race details.
Yeah,
one
let's
more
go
time.
back to the road race. Remember, August 28th.
Yep.
It jumps off at 8:30 in the morning at the Fort Saybrook Memorial Park.
Yep.
Get onto that Old Saybrook Chamber of Commerce website, and you can hold your spot for $25. And if you're a coach out there, any of these shoreline communities, jump on it, coach, because you can have your team out here for a real fun activity and a lot of bonding going on. I've seen terrific camaraderie not only between but among the teams.
Right.
So that the hockey team from Westbrook running with and against the Valley Regional team, and it's been a great event. So
Jim Crawford from the Old Saybrook-Westbrook Exchange Club. But we're out of time.
Been a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you, buddy. See you soon.
Yes, absolutely.
On behalf of Jim Crawford, I'm Pete Mezzetti. Thanks. Good night, and we'll see you next time.